I've played several RPGs in my lifetime, but none of them have been as unique as what I've played from the Cris Tales demo. The game uses the time mechanic in a way I never even thought possible, and I'm surprised I've never seen anything like it done before. Now before I get into this, I'm going to be covering the plot of the demo while also talking about gameplay elements, so if you haven't played the demo, this is your spoiler warning. But if you don't care, that's fine too. I mean, I'm not your dad or anything. But basically, the demo starts off with the battle, but that's not important right now, so let's go back in time a bit. Cris is tending to roses when one of them gets stolen by a frog in a top hat. Yeah, so she asks around town to see if anyone has seen the frog, and everyone responds to her the way you'd expect them to, like she's a maniac, by giving her different places to look. She's eventually directed to a cathedral, and in that cathedral, she finds a rose. Oh yeah, and she opens up the crystals of time or something like that. Okay, quick pause. Did anyone notice the rose petal trail from the ground outside the cathedral? If the rose lost that many petals, it should not look like this when she finds it. Anyways, the frog tells her, oh yeah, it talks. The frog, whose name is Matthias, tells Cris that she was chosen by the crystals and now has special powers, but Cris hates it and blah blah blah. He tells Cris to go visit someone at the lake to learn more about her ability. This is where we are introduced to Wilhelm, who tells Cris she is what is known as a time mage and has the ability of possibility, which is just a fancy way of saying she can see the potential future if things remain the way they currently are. We are then shown an example of this, and we go home. And I gotta say, I had a blast using this time feature. Simply walking around and seeing all the differences of the past, present, and future was a fun time in itself. Upon her return to town, Cris sees a bleak potential future for the town, which also includes the orphanage she grew up in, abandoned. She's then like, we gotta do something about this, and Matthias is like, alright, let's do something about this. They then go into town and Cris tries to tell the old carpenter dude that the houses are rotting from the inside, and he obviously doesn't believe her. She learns that she needs green leaf tonic to cure ash blight, which is what is making the homes rot, and in order to do that, she needs help from Apothecary June. But before she can get help, Cris has to find a way to help her figure out which one of the mushrooms are poisonous. So after some fancy time travel magic, you find out the poisonous mushrooms, and the apothecary helps you make green leaf tonic. You are then presented with a choice on who to help, since two people have the ash blight problem, but you only have one tonic. Since this was a demo, I'm not sure if your choices had any long-lasting consequences, but I sure hope they do since they kinda made a big deal over choosing. After you hand over the tonic, the farm suddenly sets on fire, and hey, this looks familiar. Matthias suggests that they go see Wilhelm and ask for help. Wilhelm suggests a special sword, and pay attention here, and it is implied that the sword can potentially kill her and it isn't meant for a novice. So you might be asking, what happens then? Surely this moment will be dramatic with an intense cutscene. Nope. Cris walks in, unclimactically picks up the sword, changes clothes, and somehow gets taller. She returns to the flaming farm, where we are finally back to where the demo started, this time with newfound powers. Now, Cris Tales is an RPG game that is centered around time, and I know what you might be thinking. No. While the main plot of Chrono Trigger is centered around time travel, the battles never really involved time itself. In Cris Tales, however, you actually use time to your advantage, and it makes the battles very interesting. Cris has the abilities to send enemies to the future or the past, depending on what side they're on, and it can help you set up some cool combos as well. Not only that, but the animation for it is pretty sick. Apart from the time travel mechanics, you also have to time your attacks.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
If you press the confirm button right as your attack connects, you can do a follow-up. The same rules apply for defense too, but it's more for mitigating the damage taken instead. The synergy and abilities can really be seen when this guy joins your party, after suddenly falling from the sky. Anyways, his name is Cris Teffer. And after he appears, this thing suddenly does too, and they're pretty tanky. So in order to do anything to them, you have to hit them with Christopher's water ability, which they apparently enjoy, and then use Cris future crystal to send them to the future. Which does actually make them stronger, but also rusts their shields, making them vulnerable to damage. After a hard-fought battle, the Silk Sisters retreat, and the day is saved. Except now the secretary is suspicious of her and wants to have Crisbel and Christopher apprehended. So they retreat to the cathedral and meet up with Wilhelm, where Crisbel learns of the Empress of Time, who most definitely isn't evil or anything. Christopher and Wilhelm decide they need to stop her, and after some persuading, Crisbel decides to join them as well. And that's where the story portion of the demo ends. Cris Tales releases November 17th of this year. With inspirations from my personal favorite games such as Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, and Persona 5, I have high expectations for this game. And even higher, yeah, I don't have a joke for this. I guess I'll just, see you next time.